Welcome to Krk, the largest island in the Adriatic, a place where history whispers from ancient stone walls and nature dazzles with dramatic contrasts. On one side, sheer limestone cliffs plunge into the sea, rugged and untamed. On the other, rolling green forests embrace a gentler shore. Sun-drenched vineyards and silvery olive groves sprawl across the land, a legacy of centuries-old traditions. From medieval towns to lively coastal resorts, Krk is a magnet for travelers, a bridge between past and present. But beneath its famous beaches and bustling promenades lies a deeper story, one waiting to be uncovered. They call it the Golden Island. And soon, you'll see why. Set in the heart of Croatia Bay, Krk is one of the two largest islands in the Adriatic, sharing the title with Thrace. Covering more than 400 square kilometers, it boasts numerous coves, islets and peninsulas. What makes Krk unique is how easy it is to reach. While many Croatian islands require a ferry ride, Krk is connected to the mainland by the Krk Bridge, making it one of the most accessible island destinations in the country. Just a short drive from Rijeka, Croatia's third largest city, and with its own international airport, Krk is a gateway to the Adriatic, welcoming visitors from across Europe. Before the Krk Bridge was built, travelers had to rely on ferries from the port of Votes, which made the journey unpredictable, especially in rough weather. That changed in 1980, when one of Croatia's most impressive engineering feats was completed. Stretching 1,430 meters, the bridge consists of two sweeping arches built across the tiny St. Marco islet, connecting the mainland to the northern tip of Krk. At the time of its completion, the bridge was a world record holder. Its main arch span of 390 meters was the longest concrete arch in the world, surpassing the famous Sydney Harbour Bridge by 80 meters. A true marvel of engineering, it was designed to withstand the powerful Bora wind, which can reach speeds of over 200 kilometers per hour in this part of the Adriatic. Nestled in the azure embrace of the Adriatic Sea, Krk Island has transformed into a bustling holiday mecca. Its seamless connection to the mainland via the Krk Bridge and proximity to the stunning Adriatic coastline make it an irresistible destination for sun-seekers and adventurers alike. In recent years, Krk has experienced a remarkable uptick in tourism. Each summer, tourists flock to Krk, filling its numerous hotels, campsites, and private accommodations. The island's capacity is stretched to its limits as visitors from around the globe come to bask in its Mediterranean charm. The call of the sea, sun, and pristine beaches is simply irresistible, making Krk a top choice for those seeking both relaxation and adventure. Krk's consistent growth in tourist arrivals and overnight stays underscores its status as a premier holiday destination. Whether it's the allure of its crystal-clear waters, historic towns, or vibrant cultural scene, Krk continues to captivate the hearts of travelers, solidifying its place as a jewel of the Adriatic. If Krk is the holiday capital of the Adriatic, then Malinska is one of its brightest stars. A quintessential tourist town, Malinska sits on the island's western coast, offering visitors a perfect blend of nature, relaxation, and summer buzz. On a typical summer day, sun-seekers swarm its rocky beaches, drawn to the crystal-clear waters and the cooling shade of oak and pine trees. The air is thick with the fragrance of resin and salt, an intoxicating scent that instantly evokes the true essence of the Adriatic. Overhead, cicadas perform their endless rhapsody, their rhythmic song blending seamlessly with the sound of gentle waves. Swimming here is pure bliss, the water warm and inviting, a perfect escape from the midday heat. The crystal clear waters of the Adriatic are a paradise for snorkelers, teeming with marine life even in the shallows. Schools of vibrant fish dart between the rocks, while curious sea creatures peek from hidden crevices. If you're lucky, you might even spot a shag diving gracefully beneath the waves on its underwater hunt. One of Malinska's most enchanting spots is the Paradise Path, a scenic coastal trail winding through hidden coves and secluded beaches. Walking here is like stepping into a postcard, with every turn revealing another breathtaking view of the sea. Along the way, small beach cafes and restaurants invite visitors to pause for a cool drink, a light lunch, or simply to soak up the view. At the edges of the town, the beaches seamlessly blend with the urban landscape, offering a perfect mix of natural beauty and modern conveniences, with every amenity you could need for families to enjoy their holiday to the fullest. As the sun sets, Malinska transforms. The energy shifts from lazy beach days to lively summer nights. Visitors freshen up for dinner. Strolling through the town's charming streets, browsing souvenir shops, or savoring fresh seafood in one of the many waterfront restaurants. As night deepens, the music picks up, and those looking for more excitement head to bars and discos, ready to dance until the early hours. From golden sunsets to starry skies, Malinska embodies the magic of Adriatic summers. It's a place where nature, relaxation, and nightlife blend effortlessly, leaving every visitor with unforgettable memories. The Paradise Path winds along the coast, leading travelers to Jezero, another charming seaside town on Krk. Once a quiet fishing village, Jezero has transformed into a bustling summer retreat. White stone houses and waterfront cafes sit nestled between the blue Adriatic and lush Mediterranean greenery. Jezero and Malinska are sandwiched between two worlds, the shimmering blue Adriatic on one side and a vast expanse of green forests on the other. This part of Krk is called Baška, named after the old Croatian word dub, meaning oak. A large part of the island is covered in forests, with Baška standing out as a lush, sub-Mediterranean zone dominated by downy oak Quercus pubescens. Closer to the coast, smaller patches of evergreen home oak Quercus ilex take over, forming dense, dark groves. Unlike the towering continental oaks, these stunted, gnarled trees grow straight from rocky soil, their twisted forms shaped by the harsh coastal elements. The leaves tell their own story. The downy oak keeps the classic lobed oak shape, while the home oak has long, slender leaves similar to an olive tree. Walking through the home oak forests feels like stepping into a Mediterranean jungle, a tangle of thick shrubs and deep shadows. Life thrives here. In spring, countless flowers bring colour to these dense oak forests, awakening the hidden world beneath the trees. Even tall wild orchids are a common sight here, adding elegant touches of pink and purple to the forest floor. Squirrels leap from branch to branch, lizards dart across sun-warmed rocks, and birds fill the air with their calls. In the summer, cicadas create a constant hypnotic hum. For those who look closely, even the elusive stick insect might reveal itself, camouflaged among the leaves. To find some of the island's oldest oaks, visitors must venture to the isolated village of Polica. Here, a true giant stands, 400 years old, with a trunk measuring 5.5 meters in diameter. Duboschnica is best explored on 2 wheels or 2 feet. Narrow roads and winding hiking trails lead deep into the forest, offering a perfect escape for those looking to uncover Krk's wild side. The coastline is dotted with Aleppo pines, painting a perfect Mediterranean scene. But these pines weren't always here. Planted for beauty near resorts or after wildfires, they're a foreign touch to the landscape. The true native forest. It's the oak rooted in this land for centuries. But Viticulture and Malinska have only recently transformed from quiet fishing villages into vibrant coastal retreats. Meanwhile, the island itself tells a much older story, one that stretches back to ancient times, with towns steeped in history, echoing the footsteps of past civilizations. In ancient times, the island was home to the Illyrian tribes of the Iapodi and Liburni, skilled seafarers who ruled the Adriatic long before Roman galleys arrived. Traces of their settlements and burial mounds still dot the island's hills, silent reminders of a time when Krk was a place of warriors and traders. Under Roman rule, Krk earned a new name, Insula Aurea, the Golden Island, a nod to its fertile soil, mild climate, and the olive groves and vineyards that flourished under the Mediterranean sun. The ancient city of Fulfanum offers a fascinating window into Krk's Roman past. Built in the 1st century AD, Fulfanum was created as a veteran settlement, a retirement colony for soldiers who had served the empire and were rewarded with land and a peaceful life by the sea. The Greek historian Ptolemy even mentioned Fulfanum in his writings. But for centuries, its precise location was lost to history, becoming something of a local mystery, much like Troy. That changed only in 1974, when archaeologists finally uncovered Fulfanum's remains in the sheltered Seppan Cove, just outside Omisalj town. Fulfanum was a thriving Roman city, built for comfort, commerce, and culture. At its heart stood a forum, capital, and basilica, while a bustling port connected seaside markets filled with wine, fabrics, and goods from afar. Citizens enjoyed thermal baths and an advanced water system, an engineering marvel for a small Adriatic island. Fulfanum's story continued beyond Rome's fall. In the 5th century, the rise of Christianity brought Myrina, a grand religious complex on the city's outskirts. Later tied to the Benedictine Abbey of St. Nicholas, it became a key spiritual hub. Its cruciform church, blending Roman precision with Christian symbolism, still stands alongside one of Krk's oldest Christian cemeteries, where graves face the rising sun, symbolizing hope for eternal life. Another beautiful example is Viticulture Church, near Glagolitic, as small as a matchbox yet as monumental as a cathedral. Its stone walls whisper centuries-old prayers, standing firm against the winds of time. Though modest in size, its presence is grand, a testament to faith carved in stone. As Rome embraced Christianity, so did Krk, becoming one of the first islands in the region to adopt the new faith. Churches and monasteries began to dot the landscape, some still standing today as quiet witnesses to this transformation. The next great chapter in Krk's story came with the arrival of the Croatians in the 7th century. They settled first along the eastern coast, in towns like Omisalj, Vrbnik and Baška, gradually pushing the older, Romanized population toward the west. Over time, these cultures fused, creating a uniquely Krk identity, a blend of ancient heritage, Roman influence, and Slavic tradition. By the 9th and 10th centuries, Krk had become a vibrant Glagolitic center, helping preserve the Glagolitic script, the earliest known Slavic alphabet. One of the island's greatest historical treasures comes from this period, the famous Baška tablet. Discovered in the Church of St. Lucy near Baška, this limestone tablet, carved around 1100 AD, is far more than a religious artifact. Written in Glagolitic script, it contains one of the earliest written mentions of the Croatian name in its own language. Part prayer, part legal document, the Baška tablet bridges faith and law, showing just how deeply intertwined culture, language, and spirituality were on Krk. Today, it stands as a symbol of Croatian identity, cherished by scholars, historians, and locals alike. Protected from the open sea in a deep bay near the town of Punat, Croatian Islet is a sanctuary of history and nature. This tiny green haven is home to a Franciscan monastery that has stood for centuries, preserving rare manuscripts and artifacts. Once a center of the Glagolitic script, Croatian played a key role in Croatia's cultural heritage. Strolling through its peaceful forest paths, you'll feel the weight of history in every step. Just a short boat ride from Punat, but a world away from the modern rush, Croatian is a place where time slows down. As the medieval world grew more complex, so did Krk's political landscape. By the 12th century, the island fell under the influence of Venice. But another force was rising at the same time, the Frankopan family, known locally as the Princes of Krk. Starting as Venetian vassals, the Frankopans slowly built their power base, expanding not only across Krk, but deep into mainland Croatia. Their influence stretched from Vinodol and Gorski Kotar to parts of Dalmatia, making them one of the most formidable aristocratic families in Croatian history. The Frankopans were more than just warriors and landowners. They were lawmakers, responsible for drafting the Vrbnik statute, one of Croatia's oldest legal codes, written in the Glagolitic script that was so closely tied to Krk's identity. But perhaps the most enduring legacy they left behind is Frankopan Castle in Krk town. Perched above the waterfront, Frankopan Castle was both the family seat and a fortified stronghold, symbolizing their grip over the island. Built in the 12th century, Its square tower was the first part to rise, standing watch over the harbour. Over time, the castle expanded, adding a round tower on the northern side and thick limestone walls, built to withstand both pirates and Venetian fleets. The castle was more than just a military post. It was the administrative heart of the island, where laws were written, disputes settled, and alliances forged. Despite their power, the Frankopans would ultimately lose Krk Island, the very cradle of their dynasty. Yet their castle endures, standing proud as a reminder of their once mighty rule. Today, visitors can walk through its stone corridors, stand in its central courtyard, and climb its towers, which still offer panoramic views over Krk Town's ancient harbour. It's a place where history comes alive, where you can almost hear the echoes of nobles debating in the Great Hall or soldiers sharpening swords on the ramparts. After the fall of the Frankopans, Krk passed into Austrian hands, marking the start of a new era. Infrastructure improved, and by the early 20th century, the first signs of tourism appeared. The island's natural beauty, clean air, and crystal waters began to attract visitors looking for relaxation and escape. But life on the island wasn't always easy. With rising population came food shortages, forcing many locals to emigrate, especially to the Americas, in search of a better life. Today, tourism is Krk's lifeline, a modern evolution of the island's golden reputation, first coined by the Romans. Whether visitors come for the sun-soaked beaches, the vineyards and olive groves, or to wander the cobbled streets where Illyrians, Romans, Croatians, Venetians and Austrians all left their mark, Krk remains an island shaped by history, but alive with the present. Krk Town has grown along the same historical path, expanding from its ancient core through stone gates. Its narrow, winding streets often feature a line down the middle, a clever guide to help strangers find their way to the vibrant promenade. The town's crown jewel is its majestic cathedral, a timeless symbol of faith and history. Perched high on imposing cliffs, Omisalj stands as one of the oldest towns on Krk Island, second only to Krk Town itself. As Rome Empire crumbled and chaos swept across the Adriatic, the people of Fulfinum settled to the cliffs, seeking safety behind natural defences. And so, from these ancient stones, Omisalj rose. In fact, many of the stones that now form the walls, houses, and churches of Omisalj were taken directly from Fulfinum. Today, Omisalj is a town of narrow alleys, stone houses, and unexpected vistas, all clinging to the dramatic cliffside. It's a place where history lives in the very walls, and where every twist in the street reveals another story. Some of its most notable landmarks include its churches, like the parish church of the Assumption, whose roots go back to the early medieval period, standing proudly at the highest point of town. In the heart of Omisalj lies the public loggia, where locals gathered to discuss politics, trade and daily affairs. Over time, it was transformed into a court, a place where justice was handed down, surrounded by a small square that became the beating heart of local life. Here, merchants sold their goods, announcements were made, and villagers celebrated festivals under the warm Mediterranean sky. For those seeking the best view in town, Dubec's viewpoint offers a sweeping panorama over the Soline Bay, perfect for taking in sunsets that bathe the cliffs in gold. The viewpoint is part of Dubec Park, a peaceful green space with a meandering path that leads gently down to the sea, connecting the ancient hilltop town with the shimmering waters that have shaped its fate for thousands of years. Today, Omisalj has grown beyond its cliffside roots, sprawling all the way down to the sea. But in this mix of old and new, one thing stands out: the sprawling oil refinery in the background. To some, it's an eyesore in an otherwise ancient landscape. To others, it's a vital engine of the local economy. Either way, it's part of the story. Omisalj is where tradition meets the modern world, head-on. Perched on a 48-meter-high cliff with a breathtaking view stretching across the sea to the Croatian mainland, Vrbnik is one of the earliest defensive settlements built by Croats. This historic hilltop town once guarded the coastline. Today, it invites visitors into a charming maze of tradition, stone, and sea breeze. Walking around Vrbnik means tackling countless stairs and wandering through a labyrinth of narrow stone alleys, including what's claimed to be the narrowest street in the world, barely wide enough for a very slim someone to pass through sideways. The cliffside is sprinkled with tiny gardens, lovingly protected from the strong Bura wind by low stone walls. But even more important are the sprawling vineyards that surround the town, basking in the island's sun. These hills produce gelatina, a crisp, dry white wine unique to this region. Light and refreshing, it pairs perfectly with the salty air and slow island afternoons. An authentic taste of Vrbnik in every glass. The golden gelatina vineyards that now blanket the countryside around Vrbnik haven't always been here. In fact, this land once grew golden wheat, and before that, it was a wetland. It wasn't until the 19th century, when the demand for local wine began to soar, that the area was drained and transformed.
Krk Island has one more karst field, Dobrinj Field. Unlike the thriving vineyards of Vrbnik, Dobrinj Field has mostly been left to nature. Perched on a 200-meter hill with sweeping views of Krk's green heart, Dobrinj feels like it was lifted straight out of inland Istria. If you've wandered through Motovun or Grošnjan, you'll recognize the charm. Stone alleyways, sleepy corners, and that unmistakable sense of timelessness. But unlike its Istrian cousins, Dobrinj has stayed mostly off the tourist radar. Here, life still moves slowly. The stone houses, clustered tightly together, whisper stories of the past. Of fishermen, olive growers, and families who've lived here for generations. There's no rush to modernize, and that's part of Dobrinj's magic. The bell tower of the parish church now stands tall and proud above the rooftops, but its past has been anything but peaceful. Lightning once struck it down, and during the war, dynamite tore through it. Still, it was rebuilt, stronger and more resilient, just like the town itself. Dobrinj isn't polished or flashy. It's honest, quiet, and completely captivating. Stroll through the tiny park, Jardin, and you'll be rewarded with panoramic views stretching over the countryside and down to Soline Bay, where the sea shimmers in the distance. It's a perfect spot to pause, breathe, and just take it all in. Tucked into the northern edge of Krk Island, where the land gently melts into the sea, lies Soline Bay. Here, the coastline stays low and calm. The water is so shallow, you can wade far from the shore, your feet sinking into the soft, sandy seabed. It's a place where toddlers can splash freely and parents can finally relax. But Soline Bay hides more than calm waters. Its name tells a salty story. Sol means salt in Croatian. Centuries ago, this was the site of thriving saltworks. But when the powerful Venetians saw competition to their own salt trade on the nearby islands of Pag and Rab, they shut them down. The salt is long gone, but the name remains. Today, Soline Bay is better known for something else: mud. Not just any mud, but rich, dark, medicinal clay. People travel from far and wide to cover themselves in it. Arms, legs, even faces. And when you're done, the warm sea is right there to wash it all away. It's simple here. Quiet. No big resorts. Just small towns, shallow waters, and long, sun-soaked days. A little bay where history lingers in the name, and healing still hides in the sand. Krk is shaped not only by the sea, but also by fresh water. In the island's interior lie the lakes Jezero and Punat, quiet, watery landscapes surrounded by reeds, fields, and forest. As the island's largest natural freshwater habitat, Jezero is an important refuge for biodiversity. Home to rare wetland plants, amphibians, turtles, fish, and many migratory birds. And water flows underground too. Beneath the village of Vrbnik lies Biserujka Cave, a small but remarkable world of stalactites, stalagmites, and cool karst air. On an island known for rocky shores and beaches, water appears in unexpected places, in lakes, beneath the stone, and in the landscapes it continues to shape. Tucked into a deep bay on the southern coast of Krk Island, just across from the tiny islet of Coastline, lies the charming town of Punat. While its neighbour Coastline is steeped in ancient history, Punat is a relatively newer chapter in the island's story. Once famous for its endless groves of olive trees, Punat still carries that legacy today. In fact, it's home to the only olive oil press on the island, a nod to the town's agricultural roots that haven't been forgotten. Punat began to truly take shape in the early 20th century, first as a humble shipyard. Boats were built here with care and craftsmanship, and that tradition naturally grew into something bigger. Today, Punat is home to the largest marina on the Croatian Adriatic. Rows of sleek yachts and sailboats rock gently in the calm bay, ready to explore the nearby islands and hidden coves. But modern-day Punat is more than its harbour. It's a lively summer destination, buzzing with energy and colour. Visitors come for the beautiful beaches, the laid-back promenade, and the many cosy restaurants and cafes lining the waterfront. In the summer months, the town comes alive, welcoming thousands of guests from all over the world. Evenings here are something special. Whether you're strolling along the seafront, dining with a view, or swimming beneath the fading light, sunsets in Punat are pure magic. On the narrowest stretch of Krk Island, just east of the invisible line between Vrbnik and Punat, the landscape begins to shift. Dense forests slowly give way to makia, wild, tangled thickets of low trees and stubborn shrubs. Then, almost like a slow fade on a painter's canvas, the makia opens into wide, sunlit grasslands. The beaches become wilder and harder to reach. Oprna is one of them, a remote pebble cove where the path down is steep and shade is scarce. But places like this attract those looking for nature, quiet, and a bit of adventure. To the southeast, Krk stretches into two long arms, two almost parallel plateaus. They're mostly bare, sun-bleached, and cracked by the fierce Bura wind. In places, the rocky landscape looks like the surface of the moon, with old riverbeds and dry sinkholes scattered across it. Some of the island's peaks even rise over 500 meters above sea level. Yet people came here long ago, when life depended only on the land and the sea. One of the most fascinating landscapes on the entire Adriatic coast lies here, rugged and raw, crisscrossed with dry stone walls forming labyrinths of larger and smaller enclosures. This area stretches for kilometers, and the best way to truly appreciate it is from above. But these aren't just old stones. Every single one was placed by hand, by generations of Krk Islanders who carved gardens out of stubborn, rocky land. These walls had many jobs. They kept the wind from blowing away the precious soil, marked the lines between fields, and turned harsh terrain into small green oases of tomatoes, figs, and vines. They are, quite literally, the backbone of traditional life here. In spring, rare plants come alive in a riot of colour and scent, blooming with aromatic herbs, vibrant wildflowers, butterflies, buzzing bees, and birdsong that fills the warm air. Because of grazing and the constant beating of the wind, vegetation is sparse. To protect what little pasture remains, herders developed a clever system: rotational grazing. They divided the land into sections, or paddocks, moving the animals from one to another in cycles, giving the grass time to recover. And then there are the murgari, unique shepherd structures shaped like flowers. In the centre is the main holding area, with smaller pens arranged around it like petals. There's even a funnel-like entrance to guide the sheep in. It's a one-of-a-kind tradition in the world of shepherding, where sheep are rounded up for shearing, counting, or sorting. Today, only 10 of these amazing stone structures still stand on Krk. And the sheep? They roam semi-wild across the island's rocky communal pastures, just like they always have. In this rugged, windswept landscape, water meant everything. Life clung to the tiniest drops. Scattered across the stony ground, shallow pools, known as lochthe, offered a lifeline for thirsty sheep and a rare oasis for wildlife and plants. Among them, one stands out: Lochthe Diviška, a natural freshwater basin carved into the bare, rocky terrain. Surrounded by low stone walls built by shepherds, it's divided into 5 sections. Each section guided flocks to their own little drinking zone, keeping the herds from mixing. A clever solution in a harsh place. Just below this moon-like plateau, the land plunges sharply down to the sea. On the island's southeastern edge, from Cape Glavina to the quiet cove of Mala Luka, a 10-kilometre stretch reveals Krk's wildest face. Here lie the towering cliffs of Butin and Kuntrep, split by the dramatic canyon of Triget. These rock faces rise 300, even 400 meters high. Beneath them, scree slopes tumble down like nature's broken staircases. And above it all, a vast, treeless plateau, so surreal, locals call it the moon's surface. But don't be fooled by the silence. Life finds a way. Birds nest in the cliffs, safe from predators. And soaring high above, the mighty griffon vulture. With a wingspan that commands the sky, this scavenger once thrived here, feeding off fallen sheep in the unforgiving karst pastures below. Alongside it, other rare and threatened birds call this place home. The short-toed eagle, peregrine falcon, and common kestrel. This is a side of Krk few visitors ever see. Raw, rugged, and full of wild secrets. Tucked between two dry plateaus lies the wide and fertile Baška Valley, cradled like a secret. Flowing through it is the Vela Luka stream, Krk's only permanent watercourse and a rare sight on Adriatic islands. It runs for 12 kilometers, though in summer it slows to just a trickle. But come spring, it comes alive with rapids and waterfalls. One even reaches 15 meters high. These rich soils once hosted endless vineyards and wheat fields, painting the valley gold and green. Locals grew grapes and grain with pride, and the valley echoed with the rhythm of rural life. A watermill once spun along the stream, grinding flour for the villages and turning harvests into daily bread. Today, with tourism booming and electricity replacing old ways, the mill has long stopped turning, but it still stands as a silent witness to the valley's past. A few small villages dot the road that gently winds down the valley toward the sea. At the very end of the valley, where the land kisses the shore, lies the town of Baška. Once thriving thanks to farming and wooden shipbuilding, it was the largest settlement along this coast. But the arrival of steamships and the devastating vine disease phylloxera brought hard times, until tourism gave it a second wind. These days, Baška hums with life each summer. Old stone houses share space with modern apartments and hotels, all buzzing with travellers. The star attraction? Vela Plaža, a stunning crescent-shaped beach famous for its smooth white pebbles that glisten in the sun. The water here is crystal clear, perfect for swimming or just floating the day away. Lined with cafes, restaurants and bars, it's the heart of Baška's summer beat. Activities on Vela Plaža are diverse and offer something for every generation. The calm, safe sea makes it ideal for families with kids. For those who love comfort, there are sunbeds and umbrellas for rent. While the little ones enjoy playgrounds and inflatable aquaparks, adults can try out water sports like SUP, windsurfing, pedal boats, or even parasailing above the bay. For thousands of years, the little river Vela Luka has carried sediment into the sea. The tides and waves have tirelessly sculpted it, shrinking, rounding, and shaping the shoreline. The Bora wind here can be especially fierce, but Velika Plaža is just the beginning. Heading north from Baška, a string of wild pebble coves unfolds. Bigger and smaller bays, tucked between cliffs, hidden and hard to reach. That's what keeps them peaceful and far less crowded. Among the most remote are the deep coves of Vela and Mala Luka. At the end of a broad valley, you'll find a stunning stretch of beach and a surreal, rugged landscape. Once, vineyard workers would gather here during the harvest season. Today, it's just summer swimmers. The beach stretches around 250 meters. There's no shade, no trees, but in summer, a small restaurant opens and basic amenities are available. The rest of the year, this is a sanctuary of silence. Raw, untouched nature all around. Hiking and biking trails crisscross the landscape, leading to the beach, to old stone shepherd huts, dry stone walls, and hidden ponds. In a world that's fast, digital, and always connected, this wild corner of Krk is an invitation to disconnect and reconnect with nature. Krk isn't just beaches and sea. It's old dry stone walls, shepherd trails, and the scent of sage on the wind. It's silence in the forests, sunsets over vineyards, and stories carved into stone. On this island where the past whispers and the present thrives, every step invites you to go deeper. Because Krk is an experience.